Hi, this is Autumn Payne, visual journalist, again speaking with Stephen Walker. He's a therapist at Middle Way Health, and he's also a Buddhist teacher and combines a really wonderful perspective of both Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. And we're talking about topics in relation to mental health. And thanks for joining us again today.
You're welcome. I enjoy these.
Yeah, so today, and again, people can ask questions in the comments if they come up. I wanted to talk about something that's on everyone's mind right now, or should be to a certain extent, and that's school shootings. We talked about gun violence a couple videos ago, and I'll include a link to that in the 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 topic, the comments later on. I'll include a link to that. And we're not going to cover gun violence today. We're going to talk about mental health today, and that's
Mhm.
something that I think that most of us can agree is an issue. And so I wanted to start building a conversation that almost everyone can get behind, starting with something that I noticed at an organization called sandyhookpromise.org. It was an organization started by the parents of Sandy Hook victims,
Mhm.
and they started a program called Say Something.
Okay.
And there was a statistic in there that said 4 out of 5 school shootings, the attacker told people of their plans ahead of time. So that creates a great opportunity for us to intervene. And they have a whole program built around recognizing the signs of someone that may be on the path to commit an
Mhm.
act of violence like this. So I wanted to get your take on maybe some signs of people that may be headed down that path, how we should support mental health in our community and the people around us, as an individual out there in the world that wishes to see less violence.
It's a complex question. So we'll have a few sessions on this. Um, yeah, obviously, if someone says, I plan on doing this, then uh, it would be enough for me just when someone is even joking that they have a plan. But I want to go into how difficult it is to hear that and then take the next step.
That's such a good point, especially because
Yeah.
some of these are maybe kids
Well, they're
that are seeing
kids,
something
and
on social media.
well, let's say you even hear it in person, and you can be kids can be afraid of the person that said that, so
Mm.
they're afraid of revenge. They're afraid of what's going to happen if they report on the person. So it happens with kids that, let's say they report, and the teacher goes, okay, we got to do an interview, and then the child or teenager denies it unless it was recorded somehow. So then that person, the reporter's on that person's bad list, and that's really scary.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it can take a long time to work through the complex system of acting on it. So many times people have had the experience of reporting strange behavior or mental health issues, and then people in authority don't do anything
Mm.
because they get stuck in the, I don't know if this is the reporter is good either. The one who's kind of saying there's a problem, they're not trusting that person's testimony or reporting, and then there are authority issues on the side of the school or the institution, like, well, who takes action now?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we saw that horribly, most recently in Texas, right, where conflicting views of what the response should be, and of course, the kids suffer. So there's a lot of need to notice when someone's struggling, and usually people do know,
Mm-hmm.
but then they don't know how to share it, and a lot of times when they do share it, um, it doesn't always go anywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
because America has really conflicting ideas about mental health and really conflicting ideas about privacy and free speech.
oh yeah, that's a good
It's
point. And
like you couldn't, it's just
yeah,
all
it's
over the place, So just anybody have a right to say, I just want to, you know, blow up this place, and then do kind of say, well, that's not funny. I'm going to have to report that.
mhm.
Um, and people don't know how to do that. So there's it's just messed up. And I would like to see uh, not only ways to identify if someone's struggling, but what are realistic ways to do something about it where the person is safe and believed too. Because I'm sure some people have abused the system, but I'd rather take that risk.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, building a system around that very question, or that very action of bringing this up, because Sandy Hook Promised has developed a program called Say Something, and it provides resources for educators to put into place in classrooms to support students that come forward. So, it starts with an idea, but oftentimes we need to build a system around that idea to actually actualize the result that we're hoping to see. And I think that's really smart. I wasn't aware of this program. So I'm going to put this link in there if people are educators in there, or parents. Um, they're doing some really good work in that area. Say Something program. So this is right there,
Oh, good.
sandyhookpromise.org, Say Something program. So
Yeah.
they're actually working with educators to get this integrated into schools. So, because you're right, it's, uh, so many kids unfortunately are troubled, you know? So it's like, well, this guy's acting strange. It's like, well, that probably happens in most classrooms too, to a certain extent. It's not so black and white as, I don't know if you heard this, but in Sacramento School District, there was a handgun discovered in a second grader's desk
Right.
recently, and that was reported by a classmate that saw that and reported it. But that's a very obvious thing, right? Like, here's a gun, we've identified it, we take it away. But if it's
Yeah.
mental health, that's a little more ambiguous.
With with most people with a lot of aggressive and mental health issues, um, they also know how to hide it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big problem. Is that there's enough awareness that if I talked about it too much, I would be stopped. So there's sometimes revealing what the people are going to do, but sometimes it's too late, also, right?
Yeah.
So it brings up questions of, well, should we be monitoring social media and free
Mm-hmm.
speech issues, and what should social media be willing to post? Because it's horrific to know that people are live streaming,
Ugh, that's just,
committing a crime.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's just next level. Very hard to
yeah.
wrap your head around that.
But psychologically, a lot of times people they want an audience,
They
and
want the
they're giving,
attention.
yes, and they're giving them an audience, even if their lives are lost through self-inflicted or um, police. Then people can be thinking, well, my life meant something. Finally, I made an impact. Finally, I did something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's actually more than mental illness. You see, that's um, it's a culture that breeds a certain kind of anti-hero, perhaps.
Oh, interesting.
And there's a lot in this culture about, you know, the anti-hero and the aggrieved person who goes out in a hail of gunfire from westerns to contemporary movies as
Mm-hmm.
being like, the doomed hero that still goes out with literally a bang. And these are cultural issues that are more than just mental health in the sense of disturbed thinking, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, and as a storyteller myself, feel that it's very important to be very aware of the types of stories that you're putting out there. Because when we hear the same storyline over and over again, especially if it's negative, like what you're saying, it it can have actual effects in the world. People act it out in their own lives.
Yeah, I'm also like how um, therapists like myself think about mental illness and mental health, and attorneys and the legal system think about it, and general public think about it, tend to be very different.
That's yeah, makes sense.
So, and then politically, people tend to be very different. There's a group of there are people that think, well, everyone, should have the power of choice, and they're choosing, so they can unchoose if we just, have enough education, which would be maybe more democratic, humanistic side, or enough punishment. Maybe that would be more Republican or libertarian or something. But if somebody's really disturbed, those kind of appealing to someone's choice, or like appealing to uh, someone's better feelings won't work, because one definition of mental health that I like is someone is out of control,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yes. So
It
those.
isn't just that they're hearing voices, or um, they're quirky or something, they're out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And in America, we don't like to think that people are out of control. And just on the news this morning, again, I'm hearing people are looking for a motive,
Mm-hmm.
as if we found the motive, we would find out the rationale, and we would all be um, shown again that people are in control and choice and like that. But if you're really mentally ill, you're not in control at all.
Right. And as parents, we want to be able to control the safety of our kids.
Yeah,
So we're looking for something controllable in this
yeah.
situation. Ugh.
So I like to be in the middle ground. I don't want to have, um, I'm not interested in kind of fascist state, cameras everywhere. But I also know that this culture is not good at noticing when people are out of control, because we have a bias to thinking everyone is or should be in control in a very
That's a good point.
individualistic kind of way. And we
Very
don't
true.
notice that. We don't notice when people are really off, and we tend to dismiss it as an anomaly, or they were
Mm-hmm.
just off today, and we
Or
tend
we
to,
think it's none of our business,
or yeah,
right?
exactly. So
Well, stay in my lane, you stay in your lane.
right, we're back to kind of rugged individualism. Is
Mm-hmm.
all we have to do is have the right rewards and punishments, and people will
Do
make
the
the
right
right
thing.
choices and be in control. But mental health doesn't always depend upon reward and punishment. There's a lot
That's a
of
very good
organic
point.
reasons why people are psychiatrically impaired, but also cultural reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I know we're running up to our 50.
I know, and I was like, "There's more I wanna
More,
ask about
more.
this," because I
But
have the next question in mind, so maybe we'll
mm,
continue that in the next, discussion in a couple
yeah,
weeks.
these are not academic. These are not, these are so vital that there's some consensus uh, that we arrive at this country. And I have to be realistic that if kids and high school kids, junior high school kids see that as a society we're deadlocked, they have to also be sometimes wondering, well, why should they do anything, or can they do anything? But I also notice too, in a hopeful way, that it's the kids sometimes where the change is going to come from.
Oh, yeah.
Like a school walkout or something.
Yeah.
More should be revealed.
Definitely. Well, thanks for joining again, and we'll see you again on the next one.
Yes,
if anybody has any further questions on this, you can email me or send me a DM on Facebook or whatever, because I think we'll probably continue this discussion next time.
I should put it in a pitch for the Middle Way Health website. That's also these videos are posted under interviews.
On the so you can look website. Back.
Yep.
Pick a topic. Okay. All right. Thank you.
See ya.
We'll see you. Bye.